It's spring, and that means flowers are blooming, and it's time to make some flower sool. In this video, I'll prepare 3 different flower sools using 2 different techniques. You can pick, clean, and dry the flowers yourself if you want, or like I'm doing, you can buy them pre-dried online. I'm going to use magnolia. Magnolia can be a bit harsh and bitter if put directly in the brew, so I'm going to use a little different brewing technique. Chamomile, I heard, can also be bitter, so I'm going to use the same brewing technique I'm doing with magnolia. And then the last one, bakko, can be just added directly to the brew. For this brew, I'm going to prepare a 2-step fermentation called an iyangju. The first step, I'm going to make a pambok, which is an easy juk, and this just uses mepsal, water, and nuruk. And then in the second step, I'm going to add steamed rice about 3 days or 2 days after the first step. So for the first step, you're going to prepare your ingredients: non-glutinous rice or mepsal, nuruk. Here I'm using nuruk powder rather than regular nuruk, and water. I'm going to wash the rice and then soak it for about 3 hours. I'm going to wash the rice until the water runs clear. After 3 hours, I'm going to drain the rice for 30 minutes. Next, you're going to grind the rice. You can grind it with a blender, but since I'm in Korea, I'll go to a dokjip where you can find rice cakes, and I'll ask them to grind it for me. The next step is to sieve the rice. It's important to get as many of the lumps out as possible. The next step is to add boiling water. You're going to want to mix this in as thoroughly as possible. Make sure that you have no lumps in it. This is a fairly easy recipe because this is all it takes, just add boiling water. So after you've made a paste, let it cool until it's about 25 degrees Celsius, and then add nuruk. Here I'm adding nuruk flour rather than the chunks of nuruk. About 2 to 3 days later, you'll add steamed rice. To learn more about how to prepare steamed rice, you can watch our previous video, How to Make Makgeolli too. After 2 to 3 days, the paste from step 1 should be a liquid. If, like me, you used nuruk flour or powder, you can add the steamed rice directly to the liquid once it's cooled. However, if you used chunks of nuruk, you should filter it out before adding your steamed rice. This will prevent the brew from becoming too nuruky or earthy tasting. You're going to mix in the liquid as much as possible, making sure the rice absorbs as much liquid as possible. For the bakko or flour mix, I'm going to add a little bit of flours to the bottom. Then I'm going to add my brew. Then I'll scatter a little bit of flowers on top. Because magnolia and chamomile can make a bitter brew, I'm going to suspend them from inside of the brew using a cheesecloth bag or other breathable bag. After 2 to 3 weeks, you'll filter and taste the results. Some artisanal breweries also use flowers. For example, Dugyeongju. Dugyeongju uses azalea flowers. They'll harvest the flowers, pick out the stamen and pistil, clean and dry them. Then they'll add them directly to the brew. Overall, I was really happy with all 3 of the brews. The flour mix makgeolli, or the pakgok, was really nice and had a yogurt-like quality to it. The magnolia brew was also really nice. It had the distinct magnolia taste, which is a bit lemony, without any of the bitterness that I've had before in previous brews. The chamomile was also really nice. It had a nice subtle scent of chamomile and was nice and sweet. Hopefully you'll try this recipe, and if you do, let me know how it goes. Happy brewing!